Putin and Lukashenko have been close allies for years, but their relationship is showing cracks. Putin is furious because he feels Lukashenko is not fully supporting Russia in the Ukraine war, while Lukashenko is warning back, trying to show that Belarus cannot simply be treated as a puppet. On the outside they still appear united, but inside there is distrust and tension. Lukashenko depends on Russia for survival, but he also fears losing Belarus's independence. Putin needs Belarus for geography and strategy, but he is frustrated with Lukashenko's balancing act. Both leaders are paying a heavy price to keep this alliance alive, and their warnings to each other show how fragile their partnership has become. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the World Conflict Monitor channel. Please subscribe to my channel. The story today is dramatic and tense, one that shows the fragile but dangerous relationship between two leaders who often stand together but are never truly equal. The summary is simple. After years of close cooperation, Alexander Lukashenko, the longtime ruler of Belarus, has sent a message that seems like a warning shot back at Vladimir Putin. Putin, already furious with the way global events are turning against him, sees this as both a betrayal and a sign that even allies can become unpredictable. What begins as a partnership built on power, security, and survival is now showing cracks that could reshape the region. This story is not just about politics, it is about loyalty, pressure, and the cost of defiance in the shadow of war. From the outside, the exterior view of this unfolding drama looks polished and controlled, much like the surface image that Putin and Lukashenko both try to project. On the Kremlin's side, Russia displays strength, order, and the posture of a great power still determined to dominate. Moscow wants the world to see a confident exterior, the symbols of authority, military parades, strong speeches, and a tone of certainty that Russia is unshaken. On the Belarusian side, Lukashenko too presents an exterior of loyalty, a statesman who stands by his bigger neighbor. Yet when we examine the exterior more closely, cracks begin to appear. The image of control hides a reality of pressure. Sanctions, economic struggles, dependence on Moscow, and the burden of being too closely tied to a war that many Belarusians never wanted all weigh heavily. The exterior may look clean and sharp, but beneath the paint there is corrosion beginning to show. It is this surface tension, this visible but misleading calm, that makes the exterior of the Putin-Lukashenko partnership both impressive and suspicious. The interior, by contrast, is smaller, simpler, and more revealing. Inside the relationship between Putin and Lukashenko there is not the grandeur of parades or official visits, but the private fear of betrayal, the personal anger of feeling disrespected, and the intimate knowledge that neither man truly trusts the other. The interior is short, confined, and filled with calculations. Lukashenko knows he needs Russia to survive politically, but he also knows that being too close to Moscow makes him vulnerable to being swallowed whole. Putin, meanwhile, sees Lukashenko as useful but never as equal, a partner who must always obey. This interior dynamic is tight and tense, like a room with no windows, where every move is watched carefully and every word can trigger suspicion. When we look at performance, the real question is how this alliance performs under pressure. In the past, their cooperation performed well enough when facing protests, sanctions, and Western criticism. Lukashenko could rely on Moscow to provide economic aid, political support, and even security guarantees. Putin could rely on Minsk to echo Russian narratives, offer territory for military exercises, and prevent Belarus from drifting toward Europe. But performance changes when the battlefield shifts. With the war in Ukraine dragging on and Russia's resources stretched thin, Belarus is asked to do more than it can handle. Lukashenko is expected to perform as a loyal ally, yet he hesitates to send his army directly into Ukraine. The performance falters when the expectations are greater than the capacity. Putin grows furious, Lukashenko pushes back, and the once smooth machine begins to misfire. Performance is no longer about showing unity, it becomes about surviving disagreement without collapse. Safety features in this political vehicle are not airbags or seatbelts, but survival strategies designed to keep both men in power. For Lukashenko, the safety feature is his balancing act. He plays the role of mediator when possible, he signals small independence when it is safe, and he constantly reminds Moscow that Belarus is the only neighbor still loyal. His safety feature is to make himself indispensable, so Putin cannot afford to discard him. For Putin, the safety feature is intimidation. He ensures that Lukashenko understands the risks of disobedience. Russian troops on Belarusian soil, energy pipelines running through Belarus, and financial lifelines all act as restraining straps that prevent Lukashenko from moving too far away. These safety features are meant to prevent sudden accidents in the alliance, but in truth they are fragile. Too much pressure, too much force, and the safety systems themselves may fail. Unique selling points in this relationship are also striking. For Putin, the unique selling point of keeping Lukashenko close is geography. Belarus is a buffer state between Russia and NATO countries like Poland and Lithuania. It is territory that can be used for military leverage and psychological pressure on Europe. Lukashenko's Belarus provides strategic depth and symbolic proof that Russia still has allies. For Lukashenko, the unique selling point is his survival skill. Unlike other leaders who fell under Moscow's shadow, he has remained in power for decades by mastering the art of resistance within loyalty. He knows when to say yes, when to stall, when to flatter, and when to bluff. His unique selling point is that he can be both a loyal ally and a defiant nationalist, appealing to Moscow when needed but also signaling independence to his own people. This dual identity is rare, and it is what keeps him on the stage despite enormous pressure. When we talk about price, we must understand the cost of this relationship. For Lukashenko, the price is sovereignty. Every year that Belarus leans more on Russia, it loses more independence. The price is also international isolation. By siding with Putin, Lukashenko sacrifices the possibility of better ties with Europe, economic growth, and legitimacy in the eyes of many. For Putin, the price is resources. Supporting Lukashenko means billions in subsidies, cheap energy deals, and political capital spent on defending an unpopular partner. The price is also the frustration of dealing with a man who resists full integration into Russia's plans. Both men pay heavily to maintain this alliance, and yet they cannot afford to let it collapse, because the alternative could be even costlier. In conclusion, the story of Putin furious and Lukashenko warning back is not just another quarrel between allies. It is a sign of the deeper tensions that shape the post-Soviet space. On the surface, the two leaders remain united, but inside, the distrust and resentment grow stronger. Their performance as allies is faltering under the weight of war, sanctions, and international pressure. Their safety features are fragile, their unique selling points are being tested, and the price of survival keeps rising. For the world, this drama matters because it shows that even the strongest-looking alliances are vulnerable to fear, pride, and betrayal. For Russia and Belarus, it is a dangerous game of survival where every warning, every moment of fury, carries risks that could change the future of the region. And as always, we will continue to watch, monitor, and bring you the stories that matter most in understanding the conflicts shaping our world.